Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial we are going to be making fingerless gloves like these ones over here. This is what they look like. You can make them as long or as short as you want. I am going to be making them about this long, as you can see. The yarn I'm going to be using is Schachenmayr Baby Smiles Bravo Baby. It's a weight 2 yarn and I'm going to be double stranding, so it's going to work up as almost a 4-weight. You can use any size yarn you want. I recommend using acrylic or wool since it's going to be a winter item, but you can totally also make it in cotton if you want to wear it in the summer months. I am going to be using a 5mm crochet hook, but a 4mm will also work if you have a thinner yarn or if you just want the stitches to be a little bit more tight and the fabric more stiff. I am going to start by making a slip knot, and I'm going to chain for as long as I want my gloves to be. In my case, I'm going to chain 50. I chained 50, now I'm going to chain one more time. And this is the turning chain. Now I'm going to rotate the chain so that I can work in the back bumps. This is the first bump from the hook. This is the second one. We are going to work in the second one. I am going to yarn over and place a half double crochet into that second bump from the hook. And this is our first stitch of this row. And I am just going to keep working in the back bumps across the entire chain. So since I chained 51, I will do 50 half double crochets in the back bumps. I'll come back to you once I get to the other side. I made it to the other side, and now I'm going to make a very loose chain. It will help with the flexibility of the edges later. I'm going to rotate and place a regular half double crochet in the first stitch, going through both loops. Now I am going to place a half double crochet in the back loop only of the next stitch, and I'm going to repeat it across the entire chain until I have one chain left, in which I am going to place another regular half double crochet going through both loops. And that's going to be the repeat for this pattern, which means I am going to place a regular half double crochet in the first stitch, then half double crochet in the back loop only until I reach the other edge, and then place a regular half double crochet going through both loops. Then make a loose chain, turn and do the whole thing all over again. And I will repeat this until I have 16 rows or 8 ribs, which I'm going to show you in just a second. I made it to the other side, which means I completed the second row, which makes one rib. That's what I like to call it. The way I like to count my ribs is I make sure to have my starting tail on the left side of the project. So this is the bottom edge and the tail is going off on the left side. And I have my hook on the top right side in this orientation, and you can see the V-stitch forming on the top, like on the surface. This is from crocheting in the back loop only. So one row of the V-stitch, like one bump, let's call it, is one rib. So I am going to repeat it until I have 8 lines like this one, or 16 rows total. This is what it's looking like after crocheting 4 rows. You can see 2 lines with the V-stitch. Here we have 8 rows or 4 ribs, and here is the finished panel. It's 16 rows or 8 ribs, so 8 vertical lines that look like a V-stitch. And in my case, it measures about 18 centimeters or 7 inches. Because it's made using half double crochets in the back loop only, and also the yarn I used is acrylic, this fabric is actually quite stretchy, so it should still fit the majority of hand sizes. But if you're experiencing any tightness or whatnot, you can just undo the joining that we are just going to do in a second and add or subtract a row or 2 so that it works better with your own proportions. Now I am going to fold the panel to form a tube. So this is the top right corner of the panel, and I'm just going to fold it over like so. So I can start working on joining the both sides together. After the last half double crochet, I did chain 1, and now I am going to insert my hook into the front loop of the last stitch from the previous row, as well as the back loop of the first stitch on the other side. And I am just going to pull through all 3 loops on my hook to make a slip stitch. And I'm going to repeat it 7 more times. So we'll have 8 slip stitches total going through the front loop of the side of the panel that's the closest to us and the back loop of the side of the panel that's further away. So now we are going to make the thumb hole by crocheting 8 slip stitches on the side of the panel that is further away from us. So I'm just going to place 8 slip stitches in the back loops only of the next 8 stitches on that side of the panel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I'm going to count 8 stitches on the side of the panel that's closer to us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in the 9th one, I am going to insert my hook in the front loop, as well in the next back loop of the other side of the panel. Slip stitch. So go through all the loops, and this is our thumb hole. At this point you can just try it on, or you can just try it on later when you're done joining the rest. To see if this size is comfortable for you, you can make this hole bigger or smaller, but 8 stitches wide with a 5mm crochet hook and about a width 3 to a thin 4 seems to be working very well for me and for my boyfriend, so that's what I'm going with. And to finish the rest of the glove, I'm just going to do the same slip stitches in the front loop, back loop only, until I reach the other side. Keep in mind that if you do your slip stitches very tightly, the overall length of the glove is going to be slightly smaller, it will be shorter. So if you care to keep the length of your glove, just size up in your hook or try to make sure your slip stitches are extra loose. I made it to the other side, so to finish it off, I am going to chain 1. Cut the yarn to about the same length as the initial chain. It will make weaving in ends a little bit easier in the end. And I'm going to pull the yarn like so, tighten it up, and I'm going to tie a simple knot with the 2 ends that we have. 1, 2 knots actually, to make sure it's secure and it won't come apart. To weave in the ends, I just put all the 4 ends through the needle. If you used a single strand of yarn, you'll have 2 ends. Either way, I am just going to go back and forth the seam we just created with the slip stitches. Just go back and forth a few times, then bring it back up. And down again a few stitches. And then I'll just trim off the excess. And we're done. All that is left to do now is just to turn it to the right side. And the glove is complete. It's very comfy, stretchy and cozy, perfect for winter months. It took me about 45 minutes to make one glove that's 50 stitches long, which makes it about 32 centimeters or 12 inches and a half long. So obviously all that's left to do is to make another one for the other hand. That's the yarn I have left from the 2 skeins that I used. I'll put the exact measurements and yarn requirements in the description of this video, so go ahead and check it out. Make sure to let me know in the comments and tag me on all the social medias if you end up making one of these and posting them. Thanks so much for watching, happy crafting, and see you in the next one.